Support for gay marriage in the United States. That's crazy, man. It's crazy how the long arc of history favors social progressivism, but um economic at best stagnation and at worst like oligarchy, you know? The future is a world where 1/3 of the population is transgender, but the working class, all 99% of the population, is fighting over the $1 of the GDP that drips down to like wage output, you know? But gay people are really annoying. People love to say this until they encounter like one loud straight person. And then everything's off the table, you know? People are, oh, gay people are annoying. Have you seen straight people? Like even once, have you encountered them? 1 63% of West Virginia being pro-gay marriage. That's shocking. Yeah, well, it just goes to show you how and again, it's what I mean about like actual existing fascism, you know? Much in the same way that part of the goal of neoliberalism has been to displace the slave population abroad. You can't have slaves domestically anymore, so you have to keep them in like Bangladesh or whatever. Likewise, the reactionary displaced population has to be kept overseas as well, right? Like in America now, you can signal genociding trans people, but in reality, for the most part, nobody really wants to build death camps. But in Gaza, that shit's still on the table. So the reactionary project over the past 100 years has been about the constant displacement and externalization of the marginalized, you know? Eventually, the only oppressed people on Earth are going to be on the moon base or whatever, you know? Like, everyone on Earth is going to be equal, and there's going to be a bunch of fucking Auschwitz motherfuckers up there on the moon, and we're all going to be like, yeah, fuck those guys. You always need an external population to point at. Somebody has to suffer somewhere. Building death camps would be far too big of an infrastructure project for America to afford. It sounds like a joke, but it's unironically true that America today does not have the ability to produce the infrastructure necessary for a genocide. It's genuinely true. Yeah. Like all the fear about RFK Jr. or Trump building like homeless mulching camps outside of cities, it could never happen because we can't build anything anymore. Are you sure about that? I actually am. Do you want to know, do you want like evidence to my point? Alligator Auschwitz cost Florida and the federal government and FEMA like $1 bajillion, and it was made with sticks, and then it fell apart immediately. ICE is trying to build their deportation centers by buying pre-existing warehouses, i.e. the system that they run through to build new things is so corrupt and ineffective, they would rather just go and buy existing structures than build anything new. It's crazy. We actually can't build anything anymore because any contractor that the Trump administration went through to build a new camp would be, you know, the kind of contractor that would work with Trump. Isn't that crazy? It's true, though. Think about it. The project of painting the reflection pool in the in DC right now is taking forever and looks like shit. The ballroom construction process is just like in hell right now. It's just interminably blocked, and it probably, I don't think the ballroom's ever getting built. I don't think we can build anything. So are we using China to build AI data centers? It's a little bit crazy, but if you actually look at how many of these data centers have been built, it's not a lot of them. There's more planning than construction. And then you look at how they're built, and it's literally like the cheapest, most ramshackle fucking warehouse construction imaginable, and then they wheel in a bunch of hospital generators to power the thing. Like, they're basically just scavenging that everything new that is built as cheaply as possible, and everything that isn't inexpensive to build, they basically scavenge from existing tech. They just mass buy it from existing companies. Novel construction is dead in this country. Yeah, I've seen the data center Kevin O'Leary is trying to build in Utah. It's fucked. I saw somebody quote tweet an image, a joke of like, we should replace Central Park in New York City with a data center. And somebody pointed out that would be about 5% of the landmass of the Utah data center that's being built. You would need to do it 20 times. Like this is 5% of the Utah data center. I mean, that's not what it would look like, but Minorities in Space is just the plot of Blade Runner, by the way. That's true, yeah. He literally made his fortune in Canada selling a worthless startup by lying to investors. That's how everyone makes money these days. It honestly demeans the idea of data centers. They can be insanely impressive. I mean, theoretically they can, but like these data centers built by Google were built back when a data center was a real thing. Like these are data centers that were built to accommodate real internet infrastructure, a necessary, vital part of modernity, you know? Whereas the modern data centers are being built to pump up an AI investment bubble worth trillions of dollars. So like it's a real building. Like this data center is an actual place, a necessary hub for global communication, you know? It's still infrastructure, but like it was built with that in mind. It was built by people who knew they were building the future. Modern data centers are literally just like they're the equivalent of like Hollywood prop towns that they build to shoot a film. They're just theater being constructed to justify investor hype. Well, you could use the data centers for other things after the AI bubble pops. No, you really can't. If they even get built. Why is Vaush always ragging on Uniqlo? Uniqlo is good stuff at a fair price. You are mentally ill. I speak almost exclusively positively about Uniqlo, and the earlier reference to Uniqlo was one thing, and maybe the first time I mentioned them in a month, and it wasn't even a negative reference. I only said that you were wearing Uniqlo trousers. It was not even remotely negative. You are hyper-defensive. You are parasocial. You latch on to opportunities to perceive yourself as the victim. You need to go outside. Stop watching. Radio Free Cat Girl, stop watching right now. Stop watching right now. Turn the computer off. Raiden, turn the game off now. I just watched the There Should Be No Debt video and had a genuine question. How would very large industrial projects be funded, like nuclear power plants? Well, I think massive infrastructure projects like that should be handled by the government. And in many cases, they are, no? But like, yeah, if we can eliminate debt, then yeah, like any project of that size should be paid for by the government, for sure. I don't really think the world benefits from massive infrastructural projects being privately financed, you know? Like, I genuinely can't think of a single reason why that's better. It seems like heavy government involvement in infrastructural development is almost always superior. I really can't think of an exception. There are just so many problems to letting private companies handle that. It's not always bad. Like, there have been private companies that have built good infrastructure, but almost always the government has to... Like, you guys know the only reason why rural America has electricity is because the government forced it? We literally had a post-war project for it. Like, private companies, utility companies, didn't want to extend electrical infrastructure into rural America, but the government had to force them to by making it essentially a right to. You have to connect everything to electricity. Like, we did the same thing for everything. Water, yeah, USPS. Oftentimes UPS and FedEx won't do last mile delivery, whereas USPS will. So when it comes to infrastructure, it seems like the only way you're able to have private companies run them is if the government forces them to do it properly. Like, why even have them do it at this point? You know, like on every time, like for instance, utilities enjoy your fucking regional monopoly. California burns the ground twice every year because fucking PG&E refuses to do their job and improve their infrastructure or like clean up the areas around their power stations. Like literally, like, why is the government not running this? They're utilities. It's infrastructure. China would have hanged some PG&E people by now. I genuinely don't think it's an exaggeration to say that if we were in China, if you moved everything over to China, the administration of PG&E would all be in jail. I don't think that's like a joke or anything. I just think it's flatly true. Like, that level of criminal malfeasance in China from corporate leadership would probably get them in jail, at least. PG&E just de-energizes their lines when it gets windy now. Is that true? I guess every infrastructure company would do that at some points. I'm just imagining they do it at the slightest breeze. I'm imagining, like, any time at PG&E headquarters, the windsock outside the executive's office just, like, wiggles a little bit. They slam the big red button that shuts down power to all of California. It's a credit card where every time you buy something with it, there's a chance, an undisclosed chance where you don't know the algorithm, that you just don't pay for it. It's actually I think it should be, not only do I think it should be illegal, I think they should arrest the people who made this and then find charges for it afterwards. You can really tell who this is meant to appeal to as well. Like what kind of person this is meant to be for. Look at this, man. Uber, $62. The New York Times, $3. Herman Miller, 2,300. You know, I love a good chair. I don't feel like this is... You can tell. You can tell. Fucking music. Stop. Guess it's less interesting without the music. Retards are going to buy some crazy shit they can't afford, then kill themselves. They have to pay for it. Yeah. Super, super, super degen. Terms warned, don't rely on it or change spending habits. Yeah. Just buy stuff and return it till it's free. It's not random what gets charged free. Like, I guarantee you that they have some fuck-ass AI algorithm that only discounts items for you when they know for a fact that they've made more money off of you than they're losing by paying out that charge themselves. What's the solution to bad city design in America? Not just Bikes pointed this out and got a bunch of Americans really mad at him, but he said that, like, you will never see a walkable America in your lifetime, which is true. Right now, America is much closer to actually collapsing than it is to urbanizing. The amount of money and the amount of capital interest there is invested in having America be poorly designed is so overwhelming that the idea of fixing that on any kind of systematic level is almost unthinkable. It is genuinely easier to imagine America collapsing than it is America urbanizing. The fastest way to get an urbanized America would be a nuclear war that would flatten most of it, and then we'd have to build in the remnants with fewer materials and less money. That would be like the most likely shortcut. Worth trying, though? Yeah, sure, worth trying. Such a West Coaster take. Here in New Jersey, we're actually pretty close to hitting European levels of urbanization. That's really funny. I assume that's a joke. Plus, even ignoring that New Jersey has a very robust inner-city bus network. New Jersey. That's what we're going with? Sure, dog. Yeah. New Jersey is borderline at European levels of urbanization. No, it's fine. It's fine. I got a lot on my plate right now. I don't need to engage. I'm dead serious. I know. That's why it's funny. I'm sorry. I can't. It's okay. Do you enjoy watching any sports in general? Not really, just not my cultural thing. Also, okay, I'm just tossing some chum into the waters right now. It does freak me out a little bit that so many professional athletes are like monstrously bad people. You know what I mean? Like there are so many stories all the time because so many of them are like aggro meatheads. And it like innately makes me suspicious of the culture around it. But that's not all of them, obviously. You know what I mean? But it is like a pattern for sure. You can say the same from the Smash community. I genuinely don't think I would be willing to bet the average NBA player is probably a lot worse morally than the average Smash player. But I also don't watch competitive Smash, in fairness. So doesn't this apply to Hollywood as well? Sure, but like my understanding is that when you're watching professional sports, the big drive usually is to get invested in a team or players in a team. The narrative of their successes and failures, the overall like enthusiasm and drive behind their, work towards the playoffs or whatever. Whereas I don't really watch a Hollywood movie thinking like, this is such a Ryan Gosling era. Though I do like Ryan Gosling, but so maybe a bad example. I don't watch and go like I'm in my Timothy Chalamet era. I mostly go like, yeah, he's in this movie. Let's look at the movie, I guess I consume media in a different way than I think sports as a narrative are meant to be followed, but everyone has their own way of engaging with things. If I was more into celebrity, I'd probably feel different. Clueless Europore here. How light-skinned does a black person need to be before they can't use the N-word? Good question. Cory Booker could use the N-word, but not while wearing that suit. He would have to code switch. It's really more of an affect and presentation thing than it is like your literal skin tone, because there are light-skinned black people that could not get away with saying it. And there are like even lighter-skinned black people who could, and it totally depends on how they present themselves. Well, white person could get away with it? Well, speaking of Timothy Chalamet, sometimes, no, he probably shouldn't. But like, he could pull it off in a way that would produce discourse, but not universal condemnation. Tarantino? No, Tarantino for the movies. That's different. That's different. We're talking like actually using it. The fertility rate? Yes. It's a multivariate problem. Wasn't paying attention to the stream, but the fertility thing again, I come back to the graph. 2007 was the peak high. I bet Vaush will still deny any economic influence of fertility. Why must I suffer? I've never denied any economic influence on fertility. That's retarded. You imagined me saying that. What I'm saying is that the long-term global decline in fertility can't be explained merely by economic health, because it's happening literally everywhere in boom and bust all over the world in poor and wealthy countries. Like, it's happening in Saudi Arabia, it's happening in fucking Namibia, it's happening in South Africa, it's happening in Thailand, it's happening literally everywhere. So it's definitely not just like, oh, the economy got worse after 2008, you know? It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's because of those dang iPhones, of course. You don't actually think it's the phones, right? I think a lot of it's the phones. Phones replace infants, endocrine disruptors in the environment. Your phone is a surrogate infant. It turns on those switches so you think you have a baby. I do feel like the existence of the modern smartphone does demand of a person the same kind of almost permanent emotional engagement that you would need to commit towards child rearing, which makes it a lot more unthinkable. Like, I think that if smartphones didn't exist, sometimes I'd just be chilling and it'd be like 3 in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I'd think, damn, I've got nothing to do. I could raise a kid, but now there's always some shit going on. I turn off almost every notification to ring on my phone. I truly do believe that, like, the pathway to health has to involve, like, not having your phone on you at all times. Like, at a certain point, you need to just disable all notifications and set your phone down and do something else for multiple hours at a time. And if somebody messages you during that time and you don't get back to them in time, that's just life. That's literally just life. You say this because it takes you weeks to respond to DMs. Yeah, well, you know. Message me more interesting shit. I recently started telling my friends not to text me and just to call if they wanted to talk to me. I do listen, I love the concept of the friend group chat, but man, sometimes it really is better to just be like, to not talk in it, and but then to say like, hey, we all going to do a group call at 9 p.m. tonight, and then you just do the group call and you spare yourself the inane dribble of information pouring into the group chat 24/7 that involves like your constant presence on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, I think it might be better to just save everything for the novel engagement at the end. Because there's like a lot of back and forthing, man, but sometimes I feel like if I could just get a 5-minute presentation from every friend that I'm close to at the end of the day, that would actually be kind of sick. Like, instead of the boring, like, half-hearted messages to keep the group chat updated on every inane piece of information that you feel like sharing throughout the day, at the end you could just be, everyone could be like, here's how I spent my day. We used to do these in things called phone conversations, you know? 'Tis a moment? I mean, maybe. I feel like it's more interesting that way, isn't it? That way you don't have to be, like, distracted by the phone the whole day, and instead you get the like, interesting, direct, conscious distillation of information from your friends, rather than just, like, a drip feed of stuff. Not autistic, by the way? No, I am autistic, but I don't think that takes away from what I'm saying. Over food? What a crazy idea, man. What if instead of being on our phones 24/7, just every couple of days, you met a friend and exchanged information over like a meal? That's crazy. It was funnier when you said you wanted a presentation. Yeah, a presentation was like kind of a deliberately evocative word on my part, a little bit corporate, but like the sentiment I think is a defensible one. What happened to our optimism to new technology? Because, like, for the past 20 years, new technology has basically just been a speculative vehicle for tech companies to make billions while worsening our lives. Like, it used to be technology was like, you read in the newspaper that refrigerators have gone from being the size of a car and $5,000 to being the size of a refrigerator and $500. We invented a new kind of refrigerator. And then you're like, yippee. But now it's like Silicon Valley invents credit card that is also gambling device. We're not really getting, you know, Timed out a YouTube chat because the mod doesn't like talking about veganism, lol. That's a telling statement. All right, so you got timed out in YouTube chat for discussing veganism when we in the stream are not discussing veganism, and you immediately ran to the website to make an account to complain about the mod. Let's take a look. You're I am Warman on YouTube, I'm going to assume, because there's where the deleted messages are. Let's see. Let's see. They can't see how it's just virtue signaling that legit causes people to tune them out. Or are you Admiral Goof? Wait, hold on. How many people are arguing veganism here? Oh my god, there's like 5 people who have had messages purged. You people are insane. What is up with you? Eggs are alive? What genuinely, what is it about veganism that makes you freaks act this way, okay? Holy shit. Yes, if you can get, like, buy your candy bars from a company that doesn't rely on slave labor, that's better. Yes, if you have a diet that doesn't involve the torture of, like, billions of animals, that's better. Why is this hard to argue? It's like, you people are invested in the systematic critique of all that exists, except for yourself, at which point every personal failing becomes this like, it's either an unavoidable concession to modernity, or it's a, not even a problem, and actually you're overreacting. I don't get it. You're crazy. Just accept, listen, vegans are better than you. Just accept it. And me as well. Holy shit. If I saw a person, and if I went to the store and got candy, and then I talked to a friend, they were like, oh yeah, I just don't really feel comfortable spending money on candy that goes to companies that use slave labor. Would I fucking argue with them? How insane would it be if I was like, well, like, for one, they're employing those slaves. So, like, the alternative would just be for them to have no food. At least as slaves, they're getting food. Like, the insane pretzel knots you people twist yourselves into to avoid even the implication that you might be complicit in a bad system. You know? You're so defensive. Carnivores are so annoying. Like, everyone talks, oh, vegans are annoying. Vegans I never see annoying vegans anymore. All the vegans that I see now are people who are just like, yeah, I don't really do that. And then everyone jumps on them because they're being super fucking defensive. It's crazy. Like, we all remember the years where we all used to pretend that the most annoying thing that a person could be is a vegan who asks for their accommodations to be made at, like, a barbecue. For one, none of you are going to barbecues. You're all asocial fucking rejects. All right? So that was made up. You aren't going to a barbecue. You're all white. You're not at the damn cookout. And for two, yeah, obviously you should have accommodations for vegan eaters. You can't just have meat at the fucking barbecue, you animals. You're just gonna have meat? No accompaniments? That's slop. That's America slop. Obviously you need, like, beans and rice and shit there. You're just straight up, do you have buns? Oh no, having buns would sacrifice the barbecue energy. Jesus Christ, they provide sides at, like, good barbecue restaurants. God alive, you people. God. The beans have sausages or meat as well, bud. What the fuck are you talking about? The beans have sausages or meat? I have no idea. The most coherent carnivore argument. You've got 12 pork shoulders up here doing the typing for you, okay? Your cholesterol levels are influencing the fucking keys you're typing. Being vegan is healthier, but in no way more ethical unless you grow your own garden. Just truly insane. And just genuinely, like, psychotic reasoning from people who are incapable of engaging in even a little bit of introspection. Like, just the pretzel knots you twist yourself into. It's unbelievable. Well, the industrial slaughter of billions of animals, along with the incredible cruelty of the meat industry to humans, and all of the agricultural industrial waste from those industries, are morally equivalent to produce agriculture. It's physically impossible for meat to be more ethical than vegetables, because even if we were throwing vegetables into the torment nexus, those vegetables would then be fed to animals to make meat. Yeah, it takes, like, for every calorie you get out of meat, you need 10 calories out of feed, and the feed is grown in the same general way that you produce human non-meat agriculture. So, like, you're at the very minimum, you're multiplying the suffering by 10, by an order of magnitude. And that's not counting all the animal death. True,
Always.
Vaush, what you're saying is true, but one person, me, vegan, going vegan isn't going to change all that. No one said it. What you're being defensive, man. No one said I did. At no point have I impugned a person for not being vegan. I'm impugning people for their insane, irrational cope arguments against veganism. I'm not, see, like, you're already being defensive. You're assuming that this is an attack on your personal choices. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying that it's not about you. It's just accept vegans are better than you. Vegan cheese is an insult to cheese. It's gotten a lot better recently. But also, like, you don't need to eat vegan recreations of meat and dairy products. You can just eat good vegan food, you know? Like, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle if you're like, all right, I'm vegan now. I will now eat inferior versions of the things that I'm used to eating. Stop arguing about veganism. You know, my beloved partner was playing Subnautica last night, and we were doing so well. This morning, you know what I wake up to? The hysterical cries of one who has fed their sea moth to a Reaper Leviathan. Yes, that's right. I wasn't even there to stop it. They weren't practicing good Leviathan etiquette at all. Just swimming straight through the damn water. Had the damn modules on it. Would like to hear your thoughts on this industry veteran creating a new game studio and his philosophy on why. I don't think this might not be in my wheelhouse. You see, they're doing the rape riots 2.0. After the New York Times published that article from the extremely reputable and Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist on the extent of Israel's love of rape, we have the rape riots 2.0 outside the New York Times headquarters. Honk, honk, honk. Get it? Because they're clowns. Oh, they're pro-rape riots? Yeah, they're pro-rape riots, yeah. How can you be this far gone to defend people being raped by dogs? I don't know, man. It's Israel. It's not just the protesters, by the way. The Israel Foreign Ministry has threatened to sue the New York Times. The state of Israel is threatening to sue the New York Times. Incredible stuff, really. Blood libel, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. On what grounds? That it's slanderous or libelous. After all they've done for them too. Yeah, again, what's that I saw that damn quote. Good propagandists never believe their own lies, because once you do, you lose the ability to view yourself from the perspective of the outside world. And once you lose that ability, you stop being able to do propaganda. Like, Zionists would be a lot more effective at propaganda if they weren't the most hysterical, whiny piece of shit in the universe. If they could, like, know when to pull back, to disavow, to tactically engage. But they can't do that, right? They're completely incapable. They've completely bought in on their own shit. Ridiculous. Thankfully, the New York Times isn't backing down. Guess even they've had enough. The Israeli Prime Minister has threatened to file a libel lawsuit against the New York Times regarding Nicholas Kristof's deeply reported opinion column on sexual abuse by Israel's prison guards, soldiers, settlers, and interrogators. This threat, similar to one made last year, is part of a well-worn political playbook. They're like, find a new strategy, man. Get a new game that aims to undermine independent reporting and stifle journalism that does not fit a specific narrative. Any such legal claim would be without merit. That's the craziest part of this. What? That the New York Times isn't backing down? It's nice, you know? Would have never expected this from Pencil Dick New York Times. I mean, I feel like the writing has been on the wall for a while. The New York Times wants to continue being an institution into the next century, and I think that an increasing number of people in the West who otherwise really don't give a fuck about the Palestinians or Israeli influence on America or whatever else, are starting to realize that whatever thing we've got going on right now between America and Israel, it's not going to last to the next decade, let alone to the next century, you know? So they might be, like, eventually you have to hedge your bets, right? They're going to pull the same, like, you know, well, Netanyahu was the reason why they were like this, and then they're going to pull back. You understand, you understand. It is pretty funny, though. New mayor, new New York Times? No, I don't think that's why. I saw people making fun of a femboy outfit, but for once it was a femboy outfit that shouldn't have been made fun of. Also, always with the racism. White boys in their ugly-ass sheen femboy outfits. But this one's actually good. Oh god, it's not that one? There's another one that got like 100k likes. Oh god, what? It's always something, man. They were wearing those shorts they all wear. The dolphin shorts? Yeah. Can we look at more femboys? Can you exercise self-control? All this femboy semantics talk? I mostly find the femboy fetishism insufferable because people are like boldly professing their aesthetic appreciation for people who are maximizing every single conventionally aesthetic attribute that a person could possibly have. Like, oh, really? You think that the young, slim, like dispositionally submissive, hairless, like conventionally attractive person is attractive? I just want hot takes, that's all, you know? I'd prefer like the bear hunters in chat because at least being like chunky and like hairy and stuff aren't as conventionally appreciated. But you're basically just like, well, I think it's hot when a guy looks like a beautiful woman, which like, okay, I mean, yeah, right? Like definitionally, I suppose that's gonna be a pretty popular take, I feel. I don't know. Very old-fashioned conservative mindset. Shut the fuck up, Masaigo, and get someone to donate you a goddamn name color. Nobody loves otters. It's tragic. Everybody loves otters in real life. You just don't see it posted online because online people are there's a greater disposition towards largely unattainable body types. So all the bears are like enormously muscular and all the femboys are just like have 87-inch hips. And then we eat the blood in the transfusion bag. We glump it. Anyone else? No ball? Millennialisms? That's awesome sauce. It was a better time. It was a better time. People today will never know the pleasure of scene girl pussy. You can't even have scene girls anymore because everyone's worried about being cringe. Hey, I still use the XD emoji. The XD emoji has so much more aura. Sorry, the XD emoticon has so much more aura than the laughing, crying emoji. It's insane. It's genuinely insane how much society has degraded. You gotta insert the 3 joint plugs and pull the left lever if you're crazy enough to open the cells. The joint plugs are currently being used to power other areas. Why you say lever like that? Puzzler22, I'm gonna be real with you. You need to start diversifying your messages a little bit because you've been poking me, and I've noticed. We need a new tag, which is not the chud tag, but it's like a needle, and it's the people who keep poking me, you know? That way I don't have to conjure memories from here. The coolest application for high caliber firearms that I ever thought of in like a fantasy or narrative application would be in a world where superheroes existed, higher caliber guns could be a way of gauging the relative strength. Like the difference between a superhero that could be killed with a 9mm pistol versus one that could only be killed with like a 50 DE would be massive, right? So like that, it would be like a threat categorization thing. Like, okay, if you're strapped, you could probably fight off like 90% of superhumans because they're still vulnerable to bullets. But maybe occasionally you find one that's like, nope, they're just tough enough.